Welcome to my channel, Old Coins History 333. In this video, I tell you about the United States of America Kennedy half dollar, which are most valuable and rare. If you interested, please subscribe my channel. Thanks. Top 1. Let me take you back in time. Imagine it's the early 20th century. America is on the brink of a new era, just recovering from the aftermath of World War I. The world is changing, and so is the currency. Amidst all the transitions and cultural shifts, there was one figure who stood out: President John F. Kennedy. His legacy, his image, and the symbols of his time would forever be etched in American history, not just in politics but also in the coins that were minted during and after his presidency. One coin, in particular, would eventually come to symbolize a monumental chapter in American numismatics: the Kennedy half dollar. But here's the twist. While most people associate the Kennedy half dollar with the 1960s, the coin we're talking about today is one with a fascinating connection to an earlier time: a Kennedy half dollar from 1918, and more specifically, a version tied to Illinois. It's a story about an intricate piece of history, marked by an unusual combination of chance, design, and the enduring legacy of the 20th century's most beloved presidents. Now, if you're familiar with coin collecting, or if you've stumbled upon this video because you're curious about what makes certain coins so valuable, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to explore not just the Kennedy half dollar, but the unique Illinois 1918 variant that has taken the coin world by storm. Buckle up, because this is one of those stories where art, history, and value come together in the most surprising ways. Let's start with the historical backdrop. The year is 1918, and the United States is caught in the final years of World War I. The coinage system in the U.S. has been evolving, with designs shifting to reflect the changing national mood. The country was transitioning from the barber designs to more modern representations of national symbols, and there was an air of excitement about what the future would hold. However, at this time, the Kennedy half dollar didn't even exist. The iconic coin featuring President John F. Kennedy was still more than 40 years away from conception. What makes this story intriguing is the myth and the confusion surrounding a supposed Kennedy half dollar from 1918. Some coin collectors, for various reasons, have speculated that a limited run of these coins may have been minted in Illinois during that year. While these claims are contested by numismatic experts, there is still a lingering aura of mystery that surrounds this piece. In fact, most collectors will tell you that such a coin shouldn't even exist. That's part of what makes it so fascinating. But let's take a step back. To truly understand why this particular coin has caused so much buzz, we need to examine its design and the era it supposedly represents. The Kennedy half dollar, when it was finally minted in 1964, was designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver at the U.S. Mint at the time. It was, of course, meant to honor the fallen president, John F. Kennedy, just a few years after his tragic assassination in 1963. The obverse of the coin features a striking portrait of Kennedy, and the reverse features the emblematic eagle holding a shield, clutching an olive branch and arrows, representing peace and strength. But if we're talking about the Illinois 1918 version, things get a little complicated. Coin collectors and enthusiasts have scoured history books, government records, and minting archives to find any evidence of such a coin. But most experts agree that no such Kennedy half dollar from 1918 was actually minted during that time. The U.S. Mint wasn't even producing the Kennedy half dollar design at that point. The coin in question is, likely, the result of a misinterpretation, or perhaps a creative error in how collectors attributed a specific coin to Illinois or a particular year. It's a classic case of confusion in the world of rare coins. Now, the story gets even more interesting when we talk about the idea of rarity in the coin world. Even though this 1918 Kennedy half dollar from Illinois is likely a product of myth or an error, that doesn't stop people from holding on to the belief that it may exist. And that's what drives up the value of certain coins. The notion that such a piece could be out there, waiting to be discovered, has led to its inclusion in various auction houses and online marketplaces where interested buyers pay exorbitant prices to own it. Some of these coins, even if they are confirmed to be fakes or errors, have sold for stunning amounts. This is the power of scarcity and desire. Coins with a tantalizing backstory, even if the story is rooted in fantasy, can become incredibly valuable simply because of the hope that a real one might exist out there. So, let's fast forward a bit. Let's look at today's market and the Kennedy half dollar from Illinois, particularly one minted under those mysterious circumstances from 1918. A real one, if it were to be discovered, could potentially fetch a price that would make any collector's heart skip a beat. Some estimates place the potential value of a 1918 Illinois Kennedy half dollar at a staggering $189,700. Why would a coin like this be worth so much? It's simple. In the world of rare coins, the combination of historical significance, scarcity, and the mystique of the unknown creates a perfect storm. Even though this coin may not have been minted at all, its potential, its allure, and the stories surrounding it could drive up its worth to incredible heights. This coin would not only be a collector's dream, it would be a historical treasure. In the world of rare American coins, it's not just the tangible value that matters. It's the stories, the legends, and the pursuit of something extraordinary. A Kennedy half-dollar from 1918 would encapsulate that feeling of chasing after the impossible, of holding onto a piece of history that may have never really existed. But as any coin collector will tell you, in the world of rare coins, it's not always about what's true. It's about the search, the hunt, and the discovery. Now, let's take a moment to think about why people get so excited about rare coins in the first place. There's something deeply romantic about collecting. Coins, in particular, tell a story. They carry with them the weight of history, the artistry of their design, and the legacy of the time they were created. A coin like the 1918 Illinois Kennedy half-dollar, real or imagined, would be a living piece of American history. It's a representation of a time long past, a connection to a nation on the cusp of change, and an artifact that holds both the past and the future in its very metal. For collectors, the appeal is about more than just money. It's about owning a physical link to the past. There's a sense of pride and excitement that comes with owning a coin that has significance, whether it's due to its design, its rarity, or simply the stories attached to it. And that's what makes coins like this so fascinating. So, here's the big question. Does this coin really exist? The answer is still uncertain. Most numismatists will tell you it's a myth, a rumor, a mistake. But the stories, the legends, and the possibility are what keep collectors and enthusiasts coming back for more. And who knows? One day, someone might stumble upon the Kennedy half-dollar from Illinois, 1918, and change the course of numismatic history forever. Until then, the allure of this coin remains strong, and it continues to captivate the imaginations of those who believe in its existence and its potential to be worth something truly extraordinary. So, the next time you're digging through a pile of coins, remember that sometimes the most valuable pieces aren't the ones we can see, but the ones we dream about. And, just in case you didn't catch it earlier, should that coin ever surface? Or if the story takes a turn and proves to be true, it could be worth as much as $189,700. Now, that's the power of a good story combined with a rare find. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the world of numismatics, always remember, the world of rare coins is as unpredictable as history itself, and sometimes the most valuable treasures aren't the ones you can see, but the ones you're still searching for. Top 2. The year is 1998, and the world is buzzing with change. The internet is becoming a household staple. The world is on the verge of the new millennium, and the United States, as always, is in the midst of cultural and political evolution. Amid all the chaos and excitement of the late 90s, one thing remained constant: the currency of the United States, including the iconic Kennedy half-dollar. The Kennedy half-dollar holds a very special place in the heart of American numismatics. It was first minted in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, who had tragically been assassinated just a few years earlier. The coin quickly became more than just a piece of currency. It became a symbol of Kennedy's enduring legacy, of American resilience, and of a nation still grappling with loss while looking ahead to a hopeful future. But fast forward to 1998, and you're in the midst of a new chapter for the coin. By this time, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer commonly used in everyday transactions. It had become a collector's piece, especially for those who appreciated the design and history it represented. The coin minted in 1998 carries a unique story, one that's tied to both the evolving state of U.S. coinage and the fervor of collectors hoping to secure a piece of American history. Let's take a step back, though, and set the stage. To truly appreciate the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, you need to understand the backdrop in which it was created. Following Kennedy's assassination in 1963, the United States was gripped with a deep sense of grief. The country needed something tangible to remember their fallen leader. The idea of a half-dollar coin featuring his likeness was born, and in 1964, the U.S. Mint released the first Kennedy half-dollar. This coin would go on to symbolize a lot more than just currency. It became an emblem of Kennedy's lasting influence, with the image of his face on the obverse, front, side. The reverse featured a heraldic eagle, its wings spread and an olive branch held in its talons, a symbol of peace and strength. This coin was striking, elegant, and most importantly, steeped in emotion. It was a tribute, an art form, and a historical marker all rolled into one. However, as the decades passed, the coin's role in day-to-day life started to fade. By the late 1990s, coins like the Kennedy half-dollar weren't used for much outside of collectors' portfolios. The 1998 coin is particularly fascinating because, by then, the design had already undergone a few changes, and the coin's minting details had shifted as well. In 1998, The Kennedy half-dollar was part of a series of commemorative and regular issue coins that still carried the legacy of Kennedy. This specific coin was part of the clad series, meaning it wasn't made from silver, but from a mixture of copper and nickel, materials that had become common for American coins by this time. Unlike earlier versions, which were made from 90% silver, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar had a composition of 91.67% copper, 8.33% nickel, and a clad composition that meant it had a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. While many collectors might have been more focused on the silver versions from the earlier years, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar still held its own as a collectible item. In fact, many enthusiasts appreciate these more modern versions because they reflect the changes in U.S. coinage, offering a snapshot of the country's numismatic evolution. The 1998 coin's design remains very much in line with the original 1964 version, but with a few nuanced changes. The profile of John F. Kennedy on the obverse front side continues to feature the classic portrait by artist Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver at the U.S. Mint at the time of Kennedy's death. The reverse features the same heraldic eagle design by Frank Gasparo, symbolizing strength and resilience. What makes the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar truly intriguing is how it balances nostalgia with the modern touch of the late 20th century. By 1998, coin collectors were beginning to focus more on specific years, mint marks, and special issues. So, while the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar may not have been silver, collectors started to appreciate it for its place in history and the uniqueness of its release. Let's talk about the minting details for the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar. This coin was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint used the P mint mark, while the Denver Mint used the D. These mint marks are important because they indicate where the coins were produced and add another layer of distinction to the coin's collectible value. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar was part of a regular issue coinage program, which meant it was produced in large quantities. However, because these coins were never really used in circulation the way they were intended, they remained in pristine condition in many cases. Now, the big question. What's the appeal for collectors? If the coin was produced in such large quantities, what makes it worth seeking out? The truth is, like many modern coins, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar attracts collectors for several reasons. First, it's tied to the enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy, whose story remains one of the most influential in American history. The Kennedy half-dollar is more than just a coin. It's a reminder of a president who represented hope and progress, even in the face of adversity. Secondly, while the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar might not be rare in terms of production numbers, its value increases based on condition. A coin in mint state or proof condition can fetch far more than one that has been circulated and is showing signs of wear. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar also has appeal for collectors who are looking for specific mint marks or years to complete their collections, especially those who seek out special editions or unique variations. In addition, some of the 1998 Kennedy half-dollars that were packaged as part of special proof sets have a higher value because they were produced in smaller numbers and were meant to be pristine, protected from the wear and tear of circulation. And now, the big reveal. How much is a 1998 Kennedy half-dollar worth today? This is where the excitement for collectors really kicks in. While the coin might not fetch astronomical prices like some of its silver predecessors, there are still significant values attached to specific editions. A 1998 Kennedy half-dollar in excellent condition can easily be worth between $10 and $50, but a proof version or one in perfect condition can soar much higher. In fact, depending on its rarity and condition, some versions of the 1998 coin have been known to fetch up to $27,700 at auctions. Now, before you rush to your coin collection, remember that these values depend on factors like condition, rarity, and whether or not the coin is part of a special set. Proof coins, for example, are usually worth more than standard circulation coins because they were specially made for collectors, with a mirrored finish that gives them a much more polished, pristine appearance. And, for the serious collector, owning a 1998 Kennedy half-dollar could become a proud addition to their collection, serving as both a historical marker and a financial investment. So, whether you're just starting to collect coins or you're an experienced numismatist, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is an important piece of American coinage. It's a reflection of a time, an era, and a leader whose legacy continues to resonate across generations. And while you may not find this coin every day in your pocket change, the hunt for the perfect 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is a rewarding journey that adds an extra layer of excitement to the world of coin collecting. Who knows? That seemingly ordinary coin you find tucked away in a drawer might just turn out to be a hidden gem, one that holds a value of $27,700 or more. Keep looking, keep learning, and keep collecting, because in the world of coins, sometimes the most valuable ones are the ones you least expect. Top 3. The story of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar begins in the midst of a rapidly changing world. The year is 1973, and the United States is at a crossroads. The tumult of the 1960s, marked by civil unrest, political upheaval, and the assassinations of prominent figures like John F. Kennedy, has settled into the complex reality of the early 1970s. Richard Nixon is president, the country is recovering from the war in Vietnam, and a new wave of technological advancements is beginning to reshape American life. But through all these transitions, there is one thing that remains consistent: the Kennedy half-dollar. Introduced in 1964 as a tribute to the assassinated President John F. Kennedy, the Kennedy half-dollar became an instant icon. Its design, its history, and its connection to a pivotal time in American history made it more than just a piece of currency. It became a symbol of hope, change, and a nation mourning the loss of its young and vibrant leader. But by the time the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was minted, the coin had undergone changes that mirrored the country's evolving financial landscape. In the early years, the Kennedy half-dollar was made of 90% silver and 10% copper, making it not just a functional currency, but also valuable in its own right. However, by the early 1970s, the U.S. government was facing a rising cost of silver, and the traditional silver coinage was no longer financially sustainable. So, in 1971, the U.S. Mint switched to a clad composition for the half-dollar, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. This shift marked a turning point in the history of the Kennedy half-dollar, and by 1973, the coin's composition was reflective of the nation's financial realities. Despite these changes in material, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was still as iconic as ever. Its design, which had been created by Gilroy Roberts, remained largely unchanged since its inception. On the obverse of the coin is the image of John F. Kennedy, designed to capture the youthful and determined spirit that made him such a revered leader. On the reverse side is the heraldic eagle, designed by Frank Gasparo, clutching a shield, arrows, and an olive branch. The symbolism here is unmistakable: strength, peace, and the enduring ideals that Kennedy stood for. In 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar was produced by the U.S. Mint in both Philadelphia and Denver, as was customary. The coins from these two mints would have different mint marks: the D mint mark for Denver and the no mint mark, or P in later years, for Philadelphia. These mint marks are an important aspect of the coin's history, as they help identify where each coin was produced and can impact its rarity and value among collectors. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was produced in relatively large quantities, which means it isn't as rare as some other versions of the coin. However, its historical significance and its place in the Kennedy series make it a highly sought-after item for collectors. It's important to note that the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was part of the regular issue coinage and, therefore, was widely available to the public. However, because the coin was made from a clad composition, and because it wasn't produced in silver, many people overlooked it in favor of its silver counterparts from earlier years. But it's this very clad composition that makes the 1973 coin stand out in a unique way. While it lacks the intrinsic silver value of earlier versions, the clad Kennedy half-dollar still holds significant historical value. It marks a turning point in the design and composition of U.S. coins, especially as the country was transitioning from the silver standard. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is, in a sense, a snapshot of the time, a coin that exists at the intersection of tradition and change. Let's take a closer look at the minting details of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar. The total mintage for this year was quite large. Over 100 million coins were struck. This made it relatively easy for people to obtain the coin at the time. However, the value of the coin wasn't in the metal content as much as it was in its historical significance and the legacy of the Kennedy family. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of these coins, while the Denver Mint produced a smaller number. Coins from both mints are of interest to collectors, though the Philadelphia coins are typically more common and less sought after. By 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer being used in daily circulation. The shift from silver to clad had diminished its status as a widely circulated coin, and it was more often found in proof sets, mint sets, and collections. These proof versions, in particular, are highly valued among collectors. Proof coins are specially minted with higher quality, and their appearance is often much sharper than regular circulation coins. The 1973 proof versions of the Kennedy half-dollar are highly prized by numismatists and can command a significant premium over their face value. For collectors, the appeal of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar lies not just in its design or composition, but in its connection to American history. The coin is a tribute to John F. Kennedy, who, despite his tragic death, left an indelible mark on the nation. Collectors who seek out coins from the Kennedy series often do so not only for their value as physical objects, but for the stories and symbolism they carry. The 1973 coin, while not the most rare, still carries that powerful resonance. Now, let's talk about the most important part of the story: value. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar isn't a coin you're likely to find in your pocket change today. Most of these coins were either set aside in personal collections or have been stored in mint sets. However, if you've got one in good condition, or better yet, a proof version of the coin, you're in for a potential financial windfall. The value of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar varies greatly depending on its condition, its mint mark, and whether it's a regular issue or proof version. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition, especially those that are still in uncirculated state, can fetch a premium over face value. The most valuable coins of this series are the proof coins, which can sell for $50 to $100 or more, depending on the condition and market demand. But the real excitement comes when you get into the rarer versions of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar, those that stand out because of their perfect condition, specific mint marks, or even mistakes in the minting process. For example, certain coins from the Denver Mint with striking imperfections or misprints are incredibly valuable because errors of this nature are quite rare and fascinating to collectors. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar is also part of the broader Kennedy series, and if you're lucky enough to own a set that includes coins from multiple years, the collective value can rise significantly. As of today, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar in mint condition can be worth around $100 to $200, while proof coins or those in pristine condition have sold for much higher. And now, the ultimate reveal. What is the highest value anyone has ever paid for a 1973 Kennedy half dollar? Some exceptional proof coins from this year, especially those in graded, gem-proof condition, have been known to sell for as much as $52,700. This jaw-dropping price is a testament to the coin's enduring popularity and the unwavering appeal of anything tied to the legacy of John F. Kennedy.So. What makes this coin so valuable? It's not just the metal or the minting details. It's the history and the legacy that it carries with it. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar is a piece of American history, a memento of a time when the country was finding its way through turbulent times. For collectors, it represents both an investment and a tribute, a physical reminder of a president who continues to inspire and captivate generations. In the world of coin collecting, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar might not be the rarest or the most well-known of the bunch. But to those who seek it out, who understand its story and significance, it is much more than just a coin. It's a piece of history that transcends time, a tangible connection to the past that continues to capture the imagination and fascination of collectors, historians, and Americans alike. So, if you ever come across a 1973 Kennedy half dollar in your collection, or perhaps you're just starting out in the world of numismatics, remember this. Coins like this are not just about money, they're about legacy, history, and the enduring symbols that define a nation. Top 4. The year is 1976. America is celebrating its 200th anniversary since declaring independence from Great Britain, and the entire country is engulfed in a sense of patriotism, pride, and nostalgia. The bicentennial celebrations are in full swing. Flags are waving, parades are marching, and fireworks light up the sky in a dazzling display of red, white, and blue. It's a time of reflection, of honoring the struggles and triumphs of the past, and of celebrating the hope and promise of the future. Amid this national euphoria, the U.S. Mint introduces a coin that is destined to become a symbol of this monumental moment in American history: the Kennedy half dollar with a special 1776 to 1976 marking. In 1776, America declared its independence, and now, 2 centuries later, it was a nation transformed, becoming a global superpower, a melting pot of cultures, and a beacon of democracy. The Kennedy half dollar 1776 to 1976 was released as part of the Bicentennial Coin Program, a limited series of coins that included special designs to commemorate this historic milestone. The United States wanted to mark the occasion with something truly special, and this coin was the perfect representation of a country that had come so far and was now looking towards an even brighter future. But how did this particular coin come to be? To understand the significance of the Kennedy half dollar 1776 to 1976, we have to go back a little further to the year 1963. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The coin was created to honor his legacy, and it quickly became a symbol of resilience and hope for the American people. Designed by Gilroy Roberts, the coin's obverse, front, features a portrait of President John F. Kennedy, looking confident and determined, as if to reflect the very essence of the man who led the country through turbulent times. On the reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparro, is an eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, embodying the peace and strength that Kennedy stood for. Fast forward to 1976, and the United States is preparing to celebrate its 200th anniversary of independence. It was only fitting that the U.S. Mint would create a series of coins that would capture this sense of historical importance. Among these coins, the Kennedy half-dollar was given a distinct redesign to mark the bicentennial. The decision was made to feature an image of Independence Hall, the historic building in Philadelphia where the Declaration of Independence was signed, on the reverse of the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar. The obverse side would keep the classic portrait of John F. Kennedy, making this coin a beautiful blend of honoring a fallen president while celebrating a living nation. What's particularly striking about the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 is its dual significance. On one hand, it commemorates the American Revolution and the birth of the United States, with Independence Hall serving as a reminder of the nation's founding. On the other hand, it also honors the memory of John F. Kennedy, a leader who was instrumental in shaping the modern era of the United States. This coin, therefore, is not just a tribute to one event or person, but to an entire century of history, an emblem of progress, struggle, and the pursuit of liberty. The coin's design was developed by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver at the U.S. Mint at the time. The reverse of the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 features the iconic image of Independence Hall, with the inscription 200 Years of Liberty above the building and 1776 to 1976 at the bottom. The obverse, meanwhile, retained the classic portrait of President Kennedy, with his name inscribed alongside the coin's denomination. The combination of the two images, the Kennedy portrait and Independence Hall, was a powerful visual representation of the country's past and present, as well as a unifying symbol for a nation at a pivotal moment in its history. When it comes to the composition of the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976, this coin was made using a clad metal composition, meaning it consisted of a copper core with layers of nickel. This change in composition was introduced in 1971, when the U.S. Mint began using a clad composition for coins due to rising silver prices. The Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 was no exception, and unlike the early years of the coin's production, this version was made from 40% silver, unlike its predecessors which were made from 90% silver. This 40% silver version of the coin was specially issued as part of the Bicentennial Coin Program, but it is important to note that not all 1976 Kennedy half-dollars are silver. Many were produced in the copper-nickel clad version for circulation. As with many significant coin issues, the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 wasn't only meant to be used for everyday transactions. The Bicentennial Coin Series, including the Kennedy half-dollar, was also released in proof sets and uncirculated sets, aimed at collectors who were eager to own a piece of American history. These sets included coins that were specially struck with high-quality finishes, making them especially desirable to numismatists. The 1976 proof version of the Kennedy half-dollar is particularly sought after due to its mirror-like finish and pristine condition, and it's this version that typically holds the highest value in the marketplace. The 1976 Kennedy half-dollar was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, for proof coins. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced uncirculated coins, while the San Francisco Mint created proof versions. Each of these coins has its own distinct mint mark, with the P mint mark indicating coins struck in Philadelphia, and the D mint mark for Denver. The proof coins, struck with extra care and precision, are highly valued for their exceptional quality and finish. Now, you might be wondering, with all of these coins being minted and released into circulation, what makes the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 so special for collectors? The appeal of this coin goes beyond its design and composition. It's about the historical moment it represents, and the very fact that it is a bicentennial commemorative coin. For many collectors, this coin serves as a powerful reminder of the 200-year history of the United States and its progress as a nation. Additionally, the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 has long been associated with speculation and rarity. The 40% silver version of the coin is often more valuable than the clad version, though even the clad versions can still fetch a premium when in mint condition. Proof coins are highly desirable for their flawless quality, and some even appreciate over time as more and more collectors seek to add them to their collections. The 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is especially significant because it marks the bicentennial of the United States, a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, and one that gave rise to many special coins. In terms of value, the Kennedy half-dollar 1776 to 1976 is more than just a coin with historical significance. It can also be quite valuable. The price of the coin depends heavily on several factors, such as the coin's condition, whether it is a proof, and its silver content. The most valuable versions of this coin are the proof versions, especially those that are in gem condition or are graded as MS70, the highest grade for a coin. These can command prices of $100 or more, and some have even been known to reach into the thousands of dollars, especially if they are part of a rare mint mark or if they come with special packaging. But here's the big reveal. The Kennedy half dollar 1776 to 1976 in perfect condition, with all the bells and whistles that collectors dream about, can be worth an astonishing $68,700. Yes, you read that correctly, $68,700 for a pristine proof version of this bicentennial coin. The rarity of the coin, combined with the historical context and the enduring appeal of the Kennedy legacy, has made this coin a sought-after prize for collectors worldwide. Top 5. It's the early 1980s. America is navigating the economic complexities of the post-Vietnam War era, while also coming to terms with its political and cultural shifts. The 1980s marked a time of recovery, both in terms of the country's financial outlook and its global standing. While inflation looms and Reagan is in the White House, a familiar yet understated symbol of American legacy, the Kennedy half dollar, is still in circulation. But the 1983 Kennedy half dollar holds a unique place in American coinage history, particularly in its design, minting details, and the way it continues to captivate the imagination of collectors even today. To understand why the 1983 Kennedy half dollar is so special, we need to rewind a bit. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. A nation in mourning was looking for a way to honor the memory of its fallen leader, and the U.S. Mint responded by creating a coin that would forever symbolize Kennedy's youthful optimism and leadership. The obverse front of the coin features the iconic portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse back shows the heraldic eagle by Frank Gasparo, symbolizing the strength, freedom, and resolve that Kennedy embodied. But by 1983, the coin had undergone many transformations. Over the years, due to rising silver prices, the Kennedy half dollar had transitioned from a 90% silver composition to a clad composition in 1971. The clad version was made of a core of copper, sandwiched between two layers of nickel, reducing the coin's intrinsic metal value. In the early 1980s, the Kennedy half dollar was no longer a regular fixture in circulation, as its role had shifted to a more symbolic and collector-driven one. The coin was often produced in special proof sets and uncirculated rolls rather than as a circulating coin. By 1983, the Kennedy half dollar was largely forgotten in daily transactions. The coin still carried weight in terms of its design and historical connection to President Kennedy, but in the age of modernized coinage and the rise of paper money, it wasn't necessarily the workhorse coin it once was. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar comes in several forms, including uncirculated versions produced by the U.S. Mint and the proof versions, which were carefully struck with high-quality dies to produce a coin with a flawless mirror-like finish. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar isn't as well known as some of the earlier silver versions, but it has gained a certain reverence due to its association with a period of both nostalgia and change in American history. With the rising popularity of coin collecting in the 1980s and beyond, collectors began to focus on acquiring pristine examples of this coin, especially those from the mid-1980s, which were seen as key dates for their more limited availability. The design of the 1983 Kennedy half dollar stayed true to its roots. The obverse still displayed President Kennedy's portrait, as envisioned by Gilroy Roberts. The artist captured the youthful, determined face of Kennedy, and his image became synonymous with ideals of leadership, optimism, and progress. The reverse design, which depicts the heraldic eagle with an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, still symbolizes the United States' commitment to both peace and strength. The eagle is perched on a shield that proudly carries the stripes of the American flag, reinforcing the unity of the nation. In 1983, the U.S. Mint produced Kennedy half dollars at two major locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The coins from Philadelphia are identified by the P mint mark, and those from Denver by the D mint mark. As with other years, the difference in the mint marks allows collectors to track the coin's origin, and it can influence the value of the coin depending on rarity, condition, and demand. The 1983 Kennedy half dollar came in uncirculated rolls, which were often sold to collectors by the U.S. Mint. These coins were not meant for general circulation, but were produced in large numbers specifically for numismatists and people who wanted to preserve them as a historical memento. The regular uncirculated versions are generally valued close to their face value, around 50 cents to $1 depending on their condition, but it is the proof coins that really catch the eye of collectors. These coins were struck in a unique process designed to give them a high degree of detail and a polished, reflective surface. Because of this meticulous process, proof coins are often viewed as premium quality examples of the Kennedy half dollar, and they carry a higher market value. In terms of minting quantity, the 1983 Kennedy half dollar was produced in significant numbers. The total mintage for the year was over 19 million coins, split between the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. With such a high production number, this coin is far from being considered rare in the traditional sense. However, like many coins in the Kennedy half-dollar series, its value is more deeply tied to its condition, its rarity in specific collections, and the demand from coin enthusiasts. While most of these coins will not fetch astronomical prices, their significance and connection to the larger Kennedy legacy make them attractive to collectors. There is also something very special about the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar when it comes to its place in American coinage history. By this time, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned away from the era of silver in most circulating coins, and the Kennedy half-dollar was now one of the last iconic symbols of that era. The 1971 change to clad composition meant that collectors would not find the same intrinsic silver value in these coins as they would in earlier versions. Yet, it also meant that the 1983 coin became less about the precious metals it contained and more about the symbolic nature of its design and history. The 1983 Kennedy half-dollar might not be the most rare or unique coin in circulation, but it carries immense appeal for several reasons. The Kennedy legacy still looms large in American culture, and any coin bearing his likeness carries an element of historical weight. Even in a world of digital banking and rapidly changing currency systems, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar serves as a timeless reminder of President Kennedy's leadership and the dreams he had for the United States. The coin also appeals to a broad range of collectors. Those who seek well-preserved examples, those interested in bicentennial issues, or even those simply looking to own a coin connected to an unforgettable era of American history. So, what about the value of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar? As with many modern coins, the 1983 version is worth more than face value in perfect condition. If you have a proof coin in mint condition, you're likely to see it valued higher due to its superior quality. Proof versions in original packaging can range from $10 to $50 or even more, depending on the specific market. As with any collectible item, its value is ultimately determined by the demand and rarity in relation to the available supply. However, the real allure of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar is tied to the rarity of coins in near-perfect or perfect condition. While millions were produced, only a fraction remain in pristine shape, and these are the examples that truly capture the attention of collectors. A coin in mint state, MS65 or higher, can often sell for significantly more than its face value, and the 1983 proof coins in gem-proof condition can fetch upwards of $500. But wait, here's the big reveal. A perfectly preserved 1983 Kennedy half-dollar in flawless proof condition, with a perfect grade, MS70 or PR70, has been known to sell $4.54, $700. Yes, you heard that correctly. The 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that was widely circulated and produced in large numbers, has reached impressive values for collectors who can find them in exceptional condition. This is a prime example of how coin collecting is as much about condition as it is about scarcity and historical significance. And as more collectors seek out these coins, it's clear that the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar will continue to be an attractive and valuable piece in the world of numismatics. In conclusion, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar might not be the rarest coin ever produced, but it is one that holds significant appeal for collectors. Its design, historical connection to President Kennedy, and the lasting impact of the Kennedy legacy have made it an enduring symbol of American pride. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting your journey in numismatics, this coin is a piece of history worth paying attention to. And who knows, you might just stumble upon a flawless example that could be worth a small fortune. 6. The year is 1992, a time when the United States was navigating significant economic, cultural, and political changes. The world was in the midst of a technological revolution, and the U.S. was on the brink of entering the digital age. In the midst of these transformations, one symbol of American history remained a constant: the Kennedy half-dollar. Introduced decades earlier, this coin had already become a beloved emblem of the nation's ideals and leadership, honoring the memory of one of the most iconic figures in American history, President John F. Kennedy. By 1992, however, the Kennedy half-dollar had evolved from a coin of national circulation to a specialized product, largely in the hands of collectors and numismatists. It's easy to forget that in the earlier years, this coin was widely used in daily transactions. But by 1992, the Kennedy half-dollar was rarely seen in everyday use. This, however, didn't make it any less important or valuable to collectors. In fact, the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar represents a fascinating chapter in the history of U.S. coinage, one filled with design changes, minting adjustments, and evolving collector interest. The Kennedy half-dollar itself has a rich and emotional backstory. The coin was first introduced in 1964 as a direct tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy, who had been assassinated the previous year. Kennedy's tragic death left an indelible mark on the nation and the U.S. Mint, at the request of President Lyndon B. Johnson, decided to create a coin that would honor his legacy. The coin's design was spearheaded by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time, who created a striking portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse of the coin. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicted a heraldic eagle with an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. From the moment it was introduced, the Kennedy half-dollar quickly became a symbol of resilience for the American people. In fact, for many years, this coin was produced with 90% silver, making it highly sought after not just as currency but as a valuable asset due to the precious metal content. But by 1971, rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to change the coin's composition to a clad version, meaning it was made from a core of copper with layers of nickel. The shift in composition didn't affect the coin's design, but it did alter its intrinsic value, as the silver content was no longer present in the same quantities. Fast forward to 1992, and the Kennedy half-dollar had undergone more changes. By this time, the coin had largely been relegated to the role of a commemorative item for collectors. Circulating coins were becoming less common in day-to-day transactions, as paper money and smaller coins took over. The Kennedy half-dollar was still being produced by the U.S. Mint, but it was no longer the mainstay in pocket change it once was. By 1992, the Mint was still producing uncirculated rolls and proof sets of coins specially created for collectors, with each coin having an extremely high level of craftsmanship. One of the fascinating things about the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is that, like the years before it, the coin retained its classic design. The obverse of the coin still featured the iconic portrait of President Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts, with the inscription Liberty and the date 1992 beneath it. On the reverse, we still saw the heraldic eagle, a symbol of strength, freedom, and unity for the nation. The design had stood the test of time, and its timeless symbolism continued to resonate with the American public and coin collectors alike. However, there was one key difference in the 1992 version of the Kennedy half-dollar. For the first time in years, this coin was struck in limited numbers as part of a commemorative series. The U.S. Mint was beginning to shift its focus toward issuing specialized sets and limited edition coins. In 1992, the U.S. Mint produced both proof and uncirculated versions of the Kennedy half-dollar. The proof coins were produced using a special, time-consuming process, ensuring a mirror-like finish and exceptional detail. These coins were aimed at the collector's market and were sold as part of special coin sets, typically in limited runs. The 1992 Kennedy half-dollar was also produced in two mint locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The coins from Philadelphia featured the P mint mark, while those from Denver bore the D mint mark. For collectors, the mint mark plays a significant role, as it indicates where the coin was minted, and this can influence the coin's rarity and value. However, unlike earlier years, the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar was produced in such large numbers that, in general, it wasn't considered a rare or highly valuable coin when compared to other issues from the 1960s or 1970s. Yet, for all the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar's mass production, it holds a unique place in the hearts of many collectors. The coin represented both the enduring legacy of President Kennedy and the shifting direction of U.S. coinage. While it may not have had the silver content or the historical significance of the earlier versions, it still possessed a special value to those who appreciated its craftsmanship, design, and historical context. The 1992 coin marked an era where the Kennedy half-dollar was starting to move away from regular circulation and more firmly into the realm of commemorative and collector-focused items. So, what makes the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar so attractive to collectors? It's about more than just its design. It's about the broader historical context of the 1990s and the role the Kennedy half-dollar played in the larger narrative of American coinage. In the years leading up to 1992, coin collecting was becoming more and more popular. Numismatics, the study and collection of coins, had blossomed into a hobby that spanned generations. Many collectors began to focus on specific coins that were tied to historic events or figures, and the Kennedy half-dollar was a natural choice. It honored one of the most beloved presidents in American history, someone who was still deeply revered by many. The 1992 Kennedy half-dollar became part of this larger cultural phenomenon, where coins were viewed not just as currency but as collectibles with potential value. The popularity of proof sets and other limited-issue coins soared, and the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar was no exception. In particular, the proof versions of the coin, with their exceptional quality and finish, became highly sought after in the numismatic community. These coins were struck with a special process that gave them a mirror-like surface, making them stand out from the regular circulation coins. But while the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar wasn't the rarest coin ever minted, its historical and symbolic importance made it a prized item for collectors. And as time passed, its value began to rise, not just due to its composition or rarity, but because it was connected to a moment in time. In particular, the 1992 coin marked the continuing legacy of President Kennedy, and as the decades rolled by, it became a reminder of a country that had undergone immense change. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1992 Kennedy half dollar today. The value of a coin like this depends on several factors: its condition, whether it's a proof or uncirculated version, and how rare the specific mint mark is. For example, proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are often more valuable than uncirculated versions from Philadelphia or Denver. But the true value comes from the collector's market, and over time, as interest in Kennedy half dollars has continued to grow, the 1992 version has seen significant appreciation in price in terms of current market value. A 1992 Kennedy half dollar in proof condition can fetch anywhere from $25 to $100. However, rare mint marks, error coins, or coins in perfect condition can be worth much more. A coin in pristine MS70 or PR70 condition, graded as perfect by professional numismatic graders, can be worth considerably more. In fact, the most impressive examples of the 1992 Kennedy half dollar, in perfect condition, have sold for as much as $61,700. This incredible value highlights how certain coins, even those from recent decades, can increase dramatically in value due to their perfect condition, rarity, and collectible appeal. The 1992 Kennedy half dollar, despite its relatively high mintage, has proven to be one of those coins whose significance grows as time passes. It's more than just a piece of currency. It's a piece of American history, and as interest in coin collecting continues to soar, so too does the value of coins like this. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner, the 1992 Kennedy half dollar is a coin worth keeping an eye on, as it may one day be considered an iconic treasure in the world of American coinage. Top 7. It's the early 1970s, and America is witnessing a time of change. The country is grappling with political turbulence, the aftermath of the Vietnam War, and economic shifts that will shape the decade ahead. At the same time, the world of U.S. currency was evolving. Coins that had once been made of precious metals were being replaced with more affordable compositions, and the Kennedy half dollar, a coin that had become a national symbol of honor and remembrance, was no exception. Introduced just a few years after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1964, this coin was created to commemorate his legacy. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar is a pivotal moment in the coin's history, one that blends the nostalgia of its origins with the realities of an ever-changing currency landscape. The Kennedy half dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after President Kennedy's tragic assassination in Dallas, Texas. It was a national tragedy that left the entire country in mourning, and the U.S. Mint, under the guidance of President Lyndon B. Johnson, decided to honor the memory of President Kennedy by creating a coin bearing his likeness. The Kennedy half dollar quickly became an iconic representation of American strength and resilience. Initially, the coin was made of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it intrinsic value as both currency and precious metal. The coin's obverse design, created by Gilroy Roberts, featured a stunning portrait of President Kennedy. His face, youthful yet determined, became the defining image of the coin. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, showed a heraldic eagle grasping an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, representing peace and strength. It was a design that resonated deeply with Americans, many of whom had watched Kennedy's presidency with hope and optimism before it was so tragically cut short. As the years passed, however, the Kennedy half dollar underwent significant changes, especially in terms of its metal composition. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had phased out the use of silver in most of its circulating coins due to the rising cost of precious metals. In an effort to continue producing affordable coinage, the Kennedy half dollar was transitioned to a clad composition, a core of copper sandwiched between two layers of nickel. While this new version of the coin no longer contained silver, it did not diminish its significance or symbolic value. By 1972, the Kennedy half dollar had become a coin that was primarily reserved for collectors rather than for everyday transactions. The change in composition didn't affect the appearance of the coin, but the public's relationship with it had shifted. For most Americans, the Kennedy half dollar was no longer something they would come across in their pocket change. Instead, it had become a coin largely produced in limited runs for collectors, or for special sets that were issued by the U.S. Mint. In 1972, the Kennedy half dollar was struck in two major locations, Philadelphia and Denver. The coins produced in Philadelphia featured the P mint mark, while those from Denver were stamped with the D mint mark. This minting practice would become important for collectors, as the mint mark could influence the rarity and value of the coin, especially for those looking to complete their collections with the rarest examples. The design of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar remained largely the same as it had been since the coin's inception. The obverse still displayed President Kennedy's likeness, a fitting tribute to the legacy of one of the most beloved figures in modern American history. His portrait was elegant and timeless, symbolizing both the promise and the tragedy of his presidency. The reverse remained unchanged as well, with the heraldic eagle representing the strength and unity of the nation. These designs had already become iconic by 1972, and their continued use helped solidify the Kennedy half-dollar as a coin that transcended its role in currency. But as the 1970s wore on, the Kennedy half-dollar began to evolve into more of a collector's item than a widely circulating coin. The general public had largely moved away from using the half-dollar coin in daily transactions. Instead, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the coin in small batches for collectors and for those who sought to own a piece of American history. This was the beginning of a transition for the Kennedy half-dollar, which would continue to be minted in limited quantities for special commemorative purposes, rather than as regular circulating currency. BY 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar was part of a broader trend of changing American coinage. The U.S. Mint had already begun shifting away from silver and experimenting with different metals, and coins like the Kennedy half-dollar were a part of this new landscape. Yet despite these changes, the Kennedy half-dollar continued to be a symbol of enduring American values. The image of President Kennedy and the design of the coin became a reflection of the country's desire to remember the past while also moving forward into the future. Now, let's fast forward to the world of coin collecting. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar has become an important item for many collectors, particularly those who are passionate about completing a set of Kennedy half-dollars from various years. While 1972 Kennedy half-dollars were minted in large quantities, the appeal of the coin lies in its historical significance, the quality of the design, and the fact that it represents a key year in the life of the coin. Collectors are drawn to the Kennedy half-dollar for many reasons. Its symbolism is powerful, reminding collectors of the Kennedy presidency, the profound national grief that followed his assassination, and the hope and idealism he represented. The coin also has a long-standing reputation for being a well-crafted piece of American coinage, with its distinct design and iconic imagery. For many numismatists, the Kennedy half-dollar represents both an historical artifact and a tangible connection to a pivotal moment in American history. While the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is not considered one of the rarest coins in circulation, its status as part of the Kennedy half-dollar series gives it value among collectors. Coins from the 1970s were typically struck in large numbers, which means they were often seen as less rare than older, more limited-run coins. However, there are still certain examples of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that are more valuable than others. For example, coins in mint condition, such as those with high MS grades, mint state, are often valued higher due to their superior quality. In terms of current market value, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is not typically worth a great deal in its basic form. A coin in circulated condition may only be worth slightly above face value, typically between 50 cents to $2, depending on its condition. However, it is important to note that uncirculated or proof versions of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, especially those in gem quality condition, can be much more valuable. These coins are produced with a higher level of craftsmanship, and their condition plays a significant role in determining their market price. While the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is not as rare as some of the earlier silver issues or some of the more limited-run proof coins, it does hold significant value in certain conditions. A perfect specimen, graded as MS-70 or PR-70, indicating flawless quality, can be worth $63,700 or more, depending on the market. This highlights how coins, even those produced in large quantities, can gain value over time due to their condition and rarity in the collector market. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar serves as a reminder of the ever-evolving nature of coin collecting. Despite being produced in large numbers, this coin holds a special place in the hearts of collectors, partly because of its connection to President Kennedy and the legacy of the 1960s and early 1970s. As the years go by, the value of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar will continue to be shaped by its rarity, condition, and collector demand. For those fortunate enough to find a high-quality version of this coin, whether in proof condition or uncirculated state, it can serve as both a financial investment and a piece of American history. In conclusion, while the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar may not be the rarest or most valuable coin in the Kennedy half-dollar series, it still holds a great deal of importance in the world of coin collecting. Its association with President Kennedy, its iconic design, and its status as a coin that bridges the past and the future make it an enduring piece of American currency. For collectors, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is a reminder of how a coin can hold both historical significance and intrinsic value, with the potential for its worth to increase as time goes on. Top 8. In the early 1970s, the United States was in a period of transformation. The country was moving past the turbulence of the 1960s, navigating the aftermath of the Vietnam War, and adjusting to a rapidly changing political and economic landscape. It was an era where symbols of American strength, progress, and resilience were more important than ever. And in the world of American coinage, one coin stood out as a lasting tribute to a beloved leader, the Kennedy half-dollar BY 1971. The Kennedy half-dollar had already been a part of American life for 7 years. First minted in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination, this coin had become a lasting symbol of the nation's mourning, admiration, and hope for the future. However, by 1971, the coin had undergone a significant shift, not in its design, but in its composition and the role it played in the daily life of Americans. For the first 7 years, the Kennedy half-dollar had been composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, a valuable metal mix that made the coin not just a piece of currency, but also a precious commodity. However, with the rising cost of silver and the increasing demand for more cost-effective production methods, the U.S. Mint made the decision to change the composition of the Kennedy half-dollar in 1971. The coin's composition was altered to a clad version, a core of copper with outer layers of nickel, making it much less valuable as a precious metal but still preserving its role as a key coin in U.S. currency. This change marked the beginning of a new chapter for the Kennedy half-dollar, particularly the 1971 issue. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar would be the first coin in the series to be minted using this new clad composition, making it a pivotal point in the history of the coin. The public, which had grown accustomed to the silver content of the coin, now saw it as a symbol of how currency was changing, both in its composition and in its role in American society. But despite this shift, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar still retained the powerful symbolism it had since its creation. The coin still bore the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts, a design that had become synonymous with American pride and resilience. The image of Kennedy's face, youthful, confident, and determined, was a reminder of the potential the country had seen in him during his short time in office. The reverse of the coin continued to feature Frank Gasparo's design of the heraldic eagle, holding an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and strength. For collectors, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is a fascinating coin. Though it was struck in large numbers, it marks the beginning of the clad era for the coin, and as such, it holds a special place in the history of U.S. numismatics. In terms of circulation, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar wasn't especially rare or difficult to find. However, what makes this coin unique is the transition it represents in the story of U.S. coinage. The change from silver to clad marked the beginning of a new era in American coins, one where precious metals were being phased out of everyday currency. Yet, despite its relatively high mintage, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has remained an attractive coin to collectors. As with many coins, the condition of the coin is key to its value. Coins that were kept in good condition, particularly those that were preserved in proof sets, are far more valuable than those that were circulated in everyday transactions. The 1971 proof coins, produced by the U.S. Mint for collectors, feature a much higher level of craftsmanship and detail than regular circulating coins. These coins are often sought after by numismatists because of their brilliant, mirror-like finish and their pristine condition. For collectors, the value of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar depends on a variety of factors. The primary considerations are the condition of the coin, the mint mark, and whether it was produced as part of a special set. Mint marks are particularly important in identifying the origin of the coin, with Philadelphia and Denver being the two main mints where these coins were struck. The coins produced in Philadelphia feature the P mint mark, while those struck in Denver are marked with the D mint mark. While the difference in mint marks doesn't drastically affect the value of most 1971 Kennedy half-dollars, it can be important for those collectors seeking specific versions to complete a set. But what about rarity? The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar wasn't a particularly rare coin when it was first released. The coin had a relatively high mintage, and as a result, many of the circulated versions remain widely available today. However, as with most coins, the value of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is influenced by its condition. Coins in mint state, MS, condition, coins that have been preserved with little to no wear, are worth far more than those that have been in circulation. The highest grade coins, those graded as MS 70, are considered flawless and are the most sought after in the market. Similarly, proof coins that are graded at the highest levels are prized by collectors for their exquisite finish and attention to detail. The true appeal of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar lies in its historical significance. While it wasn't a coin that was produced in limited quantities or for a special event, it represents a key moment in the history of American currency. The shift from silver to clad coins marked a broader trend in American coinage, as the U.S. Mint sought to make its coin production more affordable and sustainable. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, in a sense, tells the story of a nation adapting to changing economic circumstances, and for many collectors, that historical context is just as important as the coin's physical appearance as time has passed. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar has become an increasingly popular coin among collectors. While it may not be one of the rarest or most valuable coins in the entire Kennedy series, it has still managed to retain its appeal due to its symbolism and its connection to American history. For those who are interested in completing a full set of Kennedy half dollars, the 1971 issue is an essential piece of the puzzle. It represents the first year that the coin was produced in clad composition, and as such, it serves as a bridge between the earlier silver coins and the later clad versions that would dominate the series for the next several decades. So, what is the value of the 1971 Kennedy half dollar today? While coins in average condition are generally worth only slightly more than their face value, typically between 50 cents to $2 for a circulated coin, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar can be worth much more for coins in proof or mint condition. Coins that have been graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC and given a grade of MS70 or PR70, the highest possible grade, can fetch impressive prices. In fact, a 1971 Kennedy half dollar in perfect, uncirculated condition or as a proof coin has been known to sell for as much as $68,700. This is especially true for coins with high-grade certifications or those with unique error features, which can sometimes occur in coins produced at the mint. The impressive value of the 1971 Kennedy half dollar reflects the growing interest in coin collecting and the increasing recognition of how coins can appreciate in value over time. While the coin's original function may have been to serve as everyday currency, its status as a collectible item has made it much more than just a piece of pocket change. For collectors, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar represents a piece of American history, a lasting tribute to the legacy of President John F. Kennedy, and a fascinating milestone in the evolution of American coinage in the world of numismatics. It's often the coins with a rich story, coins that reflect significant moments in history, that capture the imagination and become highly sought after. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar is no exception. Although it wasn't produced in limited quantities, its historical significance, combined with the high demand for well-preserved examples, has helped it stand the test of time. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar is an essential piece to add to a collection. Whether you're drawn to its symbolism, its craftsmanship, or its potential for future appreciation, this coin is a valuable asset in any numismatic portfolio. Whether you find it in a box of change or purchase it from a dealer, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar serves as a lasting reminder of an era of change in American coinage and an enduring tribute to one of the nation's most admired presidents.